And welcome everyone to our closing week at Grants Pass Downs. That's right, just 2 more cards left tonight and tomorrow, and we wrap up our fall 2020 season and racing in 2020 in general at Grants Pass Downs. But we are not going out with a whimper. 2 mega cards tonight and tomorrow. First post at 4 o'clock p.m. By tonight and today, I mean Monday, because we post the show Saturday. You know what I mean. But looking forward to what should be a great closing weekend. Of course, the end of the season, everybody wants to get in and run, so a lot of big full fields. Weather's supposed to be chilly, highs in the low 50s, I believe. It's even supposed to maybe snow on Sunday, but we should be good and clear on Monday. Well, I don't think we've had a wet track, but Tuesday is supposed to rain, and it's supposed to rain for like 5 days after that. So it looks like we're closing up just in time. But some great stakes races over the next couple of days. The Jackpot Pick 5 is a mandatory payout tomorrow on Tuesday. Now there is a carryover 21,000 into today's Monday card, but this card's a doozy. If somebody hits it and takes home the jackpot tonight, they're going to earn it, because it's certainly not an easy sequence. And because we have so many races, 12 of them, we try to keep this show 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to have to kind of speed through them a little bit and not talk as much in detail as we normally do. So with no further ado, let's get right to it. And the early pick 4 kicks off in race 1. $10,000 claimers, 5.5 furlongs, and there's some legit good horses in this race for the high claiming tag, including the number 4 Jen's Journey, who showed up here at Grants Pass after running at Los Alamitos for most of the spring and summer. Had a little bit of a break from Mary Tate, won really impressively first time out, and then last time came back and dug back in. El Alto Hombre actually passed this one, had to rebattle back and ended up getting the score. It was a very gutsy win, and those were non-conditioned allowance races, so drops in for the 10, drops because this is actually still a pretty tough group. You have Pure Pursuit, who's a very speedy type toward the outside. We're, Emerald closing a couple of weeks ago now. We're going to see these last couple of weeks. We did a little last week, but I think more so this week, a number of Emerald shippers coming down because, hey, let's run one more time before the off season for the Pacific Northwest, and Pure Pursuit might be just one of those. A lot of speed toward the inside with that one. I'm curious what happens with the 2 Golden Cowboy, who was claimed for 5,000 2 back off a win at Emerald. Went up to, or stayed at Emerald for 7,500 and got beat by 30, but got claimed. It shows up for Jackie Smith, who's a good 18% with claimers. And so real curious to see how that one fares. But, there's some good runners in here, of course, always working for Jorge Rosales. Cruised through the non-winner of 2, non-winner of 3 conditions. So first time against, real open runners here, and for this one, and that's obviously a big part of things. The number 7 Ski 6, who, really had a good start to this meet, has tailed off a little bit in recent starts, but against pretty tough competition, because this one's an Oregon bred in for 12.5, and I think this horse needs to be a little closer up for a better result for this one, so we'll see if that is the case for Ski 6 in the first race. Maiden optional 20 runners in race number 2, and you have San Juan Storm, who's coming off a pretty good second place finish last time out. That was against maiden 8s. Now I know sometimes our claiming levels, you kind of have to do a little research to the entire field, because sometimes you'll get a whole field of horses that are jumping up from 8, so it plays kind of like an 8 versus maybe a 20. An example of that is the number 6 Victory Command, who first time for Al Peterson, or second time rather, for Al Peterson and Jorge Rosales, really improved last time out for the 8,000. Got beat by North Fork, a Quinn Howie runner who's a pretty good one. I'm really eager to see what happens with the number 7 Bluegrass Run, who's 8-1 in the morning. That comes from the Isidro Tamayo barn, who's a really top barn at Golden Gate Fields, 24% on the year from over 300 starters. Goes for trainer Suzanne Stater, who I'm not familiar with. In fact, according to my program, doesn't have a horse under her care at all in 2020 that started. So we'll see how Bluegrass Run can fare first time coming up from Golden Gate Fields. Of course, those horses always quite dangerous. And the number 9 Cowlitz for Eric Jensen and Terry Beckner really woke up in the second start. The first start just got off to such a terrible slow. It was literally, or terrible start was off like 15-20 lengths and just never got going. But last time showed speed, was in the race, and finished a decent third behind Coaches Valentine, who's also in here. Pretty tough little race for the maidens. Quarter horses in race number 3. Allowance event, and First Moon Cats coming off just a beaten ahead last time out. Draws down the rail, though. I'm still, as the season goes on, I've maintained my claim that the rail is maybe not the place to be in these quarter horse races. That's part of the reason I like the number 4 Warhawk, who was down in the 2 post last time, got off to a good start before getting caught by JL Rebel, who of course has had a pretty nice season here at Grants Pass Downs, and so I look for that one to have a bigger effort here in the third race. The fourth race is the Far West Futurity Consolation. So the top 10 from the trials a few weeks ago are in the final, which is later on tonight. This is the next 10. I thought it was cool that Lady Blue Patriot, the number 2, who debuted in the trial for the Far West Futurity, didn't do all that much running after a slow start, came back last week, got the maiden win, and now comes back for this consolation. The consolation's almost a $10,000 race, so certainly they're pointing for it. And like I said, the off season's coming up, so why not run the horse who clearly showed a little more interest? I am a big backer of the number 7, Jess Ozzie, who's 8-1 on the morning line. This horse had a terrible start in the trials and just didn't give this one a chance. And the 2 prior starts, including an effort in the Firecracker Futurity finishing 3rd, I think makes this horse a big chance in this race. I don't know that we're going to get the 8-1, but certainly one that merits a chance in the consolation. 5th race on the card starts our middle pick 4. That's right, 12 race card. We got a middle pick 4. Races 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then of course 9, 10, 11, 12, the late. So if pick 4s are your fancy, which we have dollar minimums here, which I love at Grants Pass Downs, you got 3 of them tonight. 5 furlongs, non-winner of 2 life runners in this one. I did make a note on the number 6, At You Lover, who is dropping a little bit in claiming price. This one had run 2 pretty good races against 8,000 non-winner of 2 3-back and 5,000 non-winner of 2 last start. Just got caught late after setting the pace, and I think that there's not a ton of speed in this race, and the cutback to 5 should make a difference for this one. It's gotten caught at 5 before, and it's a horse that's 1 for 25 and which is in the non-over 2 land, so it's been there for a little while, which is always concerning. But if the price gets anywhere over 3-1, I think this one very interesting. And then the number 8, Little Tiger, ran very well first time against winners at 5,000 non-winner 2, behind Hot and Sassy and behind At You Lover, but not that far behind, and was kind of close up. This horse has only raced 5 times, so improvement is not out of the question. And at 10-1 morning line, give it a look. The 6th race on the program is Fillies and Mares, which have not won 2 in 2020 or which have never won 4 races. A lot of runners coming out of, or a couple at least, coming out of the Maz Kanata race back on the 27th. One of them, Winning Sound, was 6th that day. Winning Sound was involved in a spill 2 starts back. This last time, Maz Kanata just nursed him on the front end and went wire to wire. And Phantom Rendezvous, who was 2nd that day, was kind of close up as well. So I think that Winning Sound was against it a little bit from a race flow kind of situation last time out after being wide. I think if this one's able to get closer, Draw on the Rail should be able to save some ground, and I think at a big price could potentially wake up and make some noise. There's some big speed coming down from Emerald Virage. Emerald speed is pretty intense speed. They go fast up there early on. And Jesse Velasquez, who trains this for Virage, very solid barn. And this is, like I said, a horse that's got some big speed. The 2 turns is somewhat the question, but this horse has run at 2 turns before at a mile at Emerald and not run that bad. So, it's just a different game, sprinting but going 2 turns. Whereas, at Emerald, a sprint is just a 1-turn race there, and it's more of a sweeping turn. So you never know how horses are going to take to it here at Grants Pass with the more narrow oval. I did also want to mention the number 8, Double Shot of Heaven. Mary Tate is 2 for 2 since coming to Grants Pass Downs. Both those 2 with Jen's Journey, who we talked about earlier. But this is one she gets from the Howard Belvoir barn. Another one who has pretty good speed from up at Emerald, capable of 22-1 speed at the EMD. So certainly not without being a contender. And the 10, Saturn Cloud, I think should get mentioned. Jorge Rosales hasn't had a huge meet this year, but he's been very solid from the horses he has sent down here. And, we come to get used to that with Jorge. And this is a horse that they got first time out last time. Won very nicely. It was a much weaker race. Non-winners of the year. Last time, I think one of our weaker conditions here at Grants Pass Downs, but the way the horse did it, I thought was worthy of mention here in this particular race. One of the features on the card, the Far West Futurity, you can say maybe one of the features of the season. A huge race for the quarter horses, and there was 4 trials for this race. The number 2, Special Doll Baby, was the winner of the 4th one, which I thought was the weaker of the 4 trials. I believe it was actually the slowest time-wise as well. But the two from that heat draw toward the inside, which I'm not, so I'm a little bit dismissive of them. The best feeling, the number 5, I think is going to be a worthy favorite in here, was 1-5 in the trial. Broke like a shot. I mean, completely erupted out of the starting gate and never looked back to a very good qualifying time of 17:82. Which I believe was clearly the fastest time, right? I think it was at the fastest time, but yes, by almost 0.2 of a second. So they're going to have to come catch the best feeling. That being said, I thought Marcelino was worth a look. That horse finished second to Audacious in the trial, just career start, number 2, draws toward the outside. And then Cooper's Best Card, maybe a bit of a price play. This one's just kind of been knocking on the door, gets the extreme outside draw. You know, if some of the horses in the middle come together, I think maybe this one's not without a chance. Was only beaten a neck and a head by Lapini and Skywalker last time. And 2 starts back against a lot of these rivals. Had a terrible start and still finished, I thought, respectful in 5th. So Cooper's Best Card, maybe a long shot to look for. The Jackpot Pick 5 starts in race number 8. And, of course, a lot of folks will be looking for that. Over 21,000 carried over. You have to be the lone winning ticket. And if there's no winners or multiple winners on tonight's card, it'll be mandatory payout day on Tuesday. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Mr. Takahashi in here, he seems to have just kind of gone backwards this season. You know, he's been such a good horse here over the years at Grants Pass Downs and the Northwest in general, but right now just not in the best form. If he wakes up, I wouldn't be surprised, but he's just not been going as well. I'm real interested in Varinsky, who came up from Los Alamitos for trainer Bill Hoberg last time and ran a pretty decent 4th. That was against allowance runners. This is a $2,500 conditioned race, and so a big step down in class for this one. The number 10 Nice Guys finish was in the sprint series that we had here at Grants Pass Downs, was claimed out of the first leg of it by Quinn Howie, ran in the second one, was close up before fading, didn't really run all that great. It was part of the claim or the sprint series, but they elected not to go to the finals, and they show up here for the lower tag. Maybe they just think this is a better spot. Those sprint races by the end of the series obviously getting pretty tough. $1 late pick 4. Let's take a breath, Jason. Let's take a breath. I'm trying to rush because we got so many races, but you know, I got time. The 9th race on the card, 5.5 furlongs, 5,000 open claimers. We see a number of runners who've kind of been competing against better in here, including Pulpit's Power down on the inside, who ran in the Medford last time out and finished a decent 3rd in that race. I think this is a very logical spot for this horse. They claimed the horse for 5,003 back, so I'm not too alarmed with the drop in class because a win and a claim out of here after that 3rd the stake, they're going to do just fine on the horse. And does draw toward the inside at this 5.5 furlong distance. Jesse Velasquez, another Emerald Shipper, the number 2 Crest Drive, another one who figures to have speed. Kind of was tailing off in its last couple, but was dueling and had trouble in the last one. So I'm a little bit forgiving for the trouble, or for the 2 bad performances this one had, because when it's able to clear, he's a very, very tough customer. Megatron Ruler has had a great fall meet here at Grants Pass Downs. 2 wins and a 2nd behind AZ Rules. AZ Rules also here. Speaking of forgiving horses at Emerald off of maybe a couple bad trips, the number 5 Licorice Drop Pops for Jorge Rosales. This horse got real hot in the month of August and September, and then had a couple of not so great efforts against more open company, but had a bad start in one and was wide in the other, and did make a little bit of an improvement effort. So you find your prices by being forgiving off a couple of bad starts. People are very recent biased focused when it comes to handicapping. They're going to see the number 7 Mitch and Johnny, who won by 6 last time, going wire to wire and had kind of a perfect trip. And they're going to think, well, that horse beat that Licorice Drop Pop last time, so I'm going to go with Mitch and Johnny. But, more pressure coming down to the tighter turns at Grants Pass Downs. You never know if Mitch and Johnny will appreciate that. It does come down for the Debbie Peary barn, who had a great 2020 so far, hitting at 19% and is 30% off the claim. So shout out Deb, doing a great job as always. 10th race is one of our features. It's the Grants Pass Downs, the Grants Pass Distaff Stakes. A mile and an 1/8, so they start all the way at the end of the chute and do 2 full laps. Sleigh Ride was on the lead last time, going 6.5, so I have to think that being on the lead stretching out to a mile and an 1/8 should be certainly in the cards for that one. I'm excited to see what Barbello does here now, because Barbello started making up ground last time and just didn't have the same punch. She kind of been a deep closer and was a little closer up last time, and then just didn't have the punch, whereas Florista, who was second in that race behind Chief Slow Pearl. Chief Slow Pearl, of course, came back to win. Florista ran a bang-up race first time locally, and Florista traditionally has been more of a long-distance type runner, so I got to think Florista going to be a major player in here. Kissable You was 3rd in the Ashland Stakes last time out, but Chase the Music came back to not run very well and then was scratched subsequent to that. I kind of questioned the solidness of the Ashland, and so a little bit against Kissable You in this spot, and a little bit more towards Florista and Barbello coming out of their efforts last time out. The 11th race on the card begins the late daily double, 3,200 non-winners of the year. The number one, the Public Halo, still eligible for this condition because it got caught in the last jump or so by Storm on the River last time out. Certainly going to be another player in here. Was solidly in front, turning for home, just couldn't quite hold on. It's the same distance this time. I am looking a little bit more maybe towards the 4 Lolly Express, who ran in that mile and 11/16 race last time out, set the pace. It's a marathon race. I can't be too mad at the horse for fading late in that race. You go back to when this horse ran at 6.5 last time, and it ran very, very good behind the Red Hot Megatron Rulers. So I think Lolly Express a major player here in the 11th race. And the 12th and final 5,000 non-winner of 3 lifetime runners in here. And number 3, Preaching at Dinner, was in an open allowance last time. It was an Oregon-bred open allowance. So, how you kind of compare class, you kind of have to decide for yourself. But was a good second that day, and that was kind of the first local start since last year. And this horse was second against Stakes Company last year here. So clearly likes Grants Pass. Has never won here, but 3 seconds from 4 career starts. Johnny 5 showed up to Grants Pass for the first time last time for Charlie Essex and ran a bang-up second, just beating a dirty, dirty nose last time out. I think those two make a lot of sense. I think Full Bridle Phantom was an impressive winner here last time out against Prince of Luck. Prince of Luck came back to win. Prince of Luck had a perfect setup when it came back to win and is in this spot again. But, we'll see. I'm a little bit against Full Bridle Phantom, but, you got to have an opinion, right? You got to go against favorites sometimes. Anyways, that is just a quick spin through the 12-race card that is coming up tonight. Again, tomorrow night, Tuesday, closing night here at Grants Pass Downs. Stick to our social media accounts to find out information or Equibase about the jackpot carryover and weather and all that kind of fun stuff. But really looking forward to what should be a great 2 days of the meet as we close out this 2020 season at Grants Pass Downs. Best of luck today with your wagers.